Well, good morning. Our co-host Morgan Blythe is not with us today, but anyway, I still want to proceed, and we are uh, continuing. We're in the 14th day of Operation Epic Fury, and the question we have is whether victory is possible without a ground operation. The first thing I would say is that the question of victory is really, to some extent, something that we personally define. The one thing that conceivably could box us in and make things awkward is these commitments to demand unconditional surrender, or to demand that the nuclear concentrate be captured before this is over, because it may be impossible even for the Iranian authorities to bring about either one of those, even if they want to. It's hard to say where all of the nuclear concentrates are, whether some of them have been destroyed, whether we just don't know. And the idea of unconditional surrender sort of requires cooperation from many millions of people. So it is probably best that the administration not keep talking in those terms, because we would like to have the flexibility to declare an end to the war, assuming that the other parties, Israel and Iran, will go along with it. And so what we would like to see eventually is a diplomatic solution that brings an end to the fighting. And so I think it's just important. Now, President Trump has a very fluid way of discussing things, to where he may say in one breath that there's an unconditional surrender, and then the next he may say, well, we've worked out an accommodation or something like that. I think he can pull it off. He can back us out of some of these hard and fast positions in ways that other presidents might not have been able to do in the past, because he has sort of a reputation for sometimes saying inconsistent things literally within the same paragraph, which to some extent is advantageous to him. So it's just best that officials in the administration try to avoid boxing us into a definition of what victory is. Victory should be whatever we say it is at the end, and ideally you give your opponent the ability to save face to some extent too. So we'll see what happens. Now, with overnight, we received new news that has just come out about U.S. military strikes on Carg Island. Carg Island is part of Iran. It's in the Persian Gulf. It is extremely important to the nation of Iran because it is the country's principal export hub for oil. 95% of Iran's crude oil exports are shipped through Carg Island. It handles hundreds of millions of barrels of oil a year, which is just a vast quantity. Once you're talking about 1 million barrels of 1 million barrels of oil. You're talking about a sort of a geographically significant amount. It's not like 1 million barrels makes or breaks anything, but it's a significant amount. So when you talk about Carg Island handling hundreds of billions in a year, you're talking about something that has global geopolitical importance. And so overnight, the U.S. has bombed, apparently very intensively bombed, all of the defense facilities on Carg Island. So it is not a large island at all. And so I would imagine that a very heavy bombing campaign could probably knock out the majority of the defensive positions. However, the Revolutionary Guard forces, the very elite forces of Iran, are there. They do hold the island, and so I don't imagine that they were destroyed. Now, according to President Trump, on his orders, the oil facilities were not damaged. It was limited to military facilities that could be identified. So the oil capacity of Carg Island remains intact, and but at the same time, there is a threat from the president that the oil facilities might be targeted at some point. Now, this is important because if the U.S. were to bomb oil facilities that handle such an enormous volume of oil, global oil, if that happened, it would cause major disruptions throughout Asia, China, India, Japan, South Korea. These are countries that are not major oil producers. They rely on imports. Now, here in the United States, we produce far more oil than we can consume ourselves. In Latin America, the same thing. They produce and export lots of oil. Russia is a huge oil exporter. They are today, and in normal times, they're even much greater than they are today. So you have other areas. You've got Europe, which is not oil producing. You have Asia, which is not, in a significant way, an oil producer. So for them, the outcome of things on Carg Island could be extremely important. It is a bit of an open question what would happen if Carg Island's oil facilities were substantially destroyed. What would the impact be on the global economy? So I think the destruction of the oil facilities on Carg Island is a bit of a two-sided sword, because yes, we could destroy them. I have no question that we have the ability to destroy all of the oil facilities on Carg Island. But then the question is, what would that do to the economy? Would that throw the global economy into a recession or a depression or whatever? I just don't have the information to determine that at this point. Now, there is the possibility that the United States could conduct an amphibious landing on Carg Island. Now, right now, we do have relatively modest ground forces en route, potentially en route to the Iranian theater. Now, we do have some forces, forces in place. I suspect in Qatar there must be, we have 10,000 American troops. Some of those troops would be capable of conducting operations on Carg Island. There is a Marine Expeditionary Unit, probably 2,500 troops or so, and they are 1 or 2 weeks away from the theater of war. The 82nd Airborne Division, there's one brigade of the Airborne Division that has been on a very high state of alert. No indication that they have moved at this point. So the one that is en route is the Marine Expeditionary Unit. It is a relatively modest sized force. And I would think that if we were going to invade, we might be looking at a more major force than that. The Marines, of course, are expert at amphibious warfare, and so that would be an option, which potentially could be an intriguing one, because if the United States were to seize Carg Island, occupy it, and potentially hold it indefinitely, it would give the United States control over the oil flow out of the Persian Gulf, which would give us an incredible amount of geopolitical leverage into the indefinite future. So I would think that would be a tempting option. But the question is the challenges that would be faced by American forces when they're within fairly close range of the rest of Iran. So it remains to be seen just what will happen there. There was some concern that the Marine Expeditionary Unit might be used to reinforce the Israelis in Lebanon. Israel has had its eye on expanding its territory into Lebanon, into Syria, into various other countries for a long time. They've repeatedly, since the founding of Israel in 1948, have just repeatedly invaded Lebanon. And the reason that there is a Hezbollah military force is that these are the Shia Muslims, and they tend not to be terrorists, by the way. We've designated them terrorists. I don't know all the background on that just offhand, but typically what they have done is Hezbollah has been the defensive force that guarded the border between Israel and Lebanon. They've never just attacked into Israel. They've always been there defending against the repeated succession of Israeli attacks into Lebanon. There's some reason to believe that, well, it's almost certain, let's put it this way, that Israel intends to seize additional lands from the Lebanese people. Lebanese, by the way, very heavy Christian population. They used to be much more heavily Christianized until these successions of attacks have driven a portion of the Christian population out of Lebanon. And but in any event, there still are many Christians, and the structure of the Lebanese government is it's what is called a confessional government, which basically the president is a Christian, and then I think the head of the parliament is Shia Muslim. Then you have someone else who is Sunni Muslim. So it recognizes that there are three very important religious elements that make up Lebanon. So we need to, Americans should understand, we're always told, oh, Hezbollah, Hezbollah, Hezbollah. We need to understand that when Israel attacks Lebanon, they are attacking Christians. It's not just Muslims. So people who have little regard for any of the Muslim population might give second thoughts and recognize that anytime that Israel is attacking into Lebanon, they are probably seizing Christian farms, Christian villages, killing Christian people. So personally, I have very deep regard for the Muslims. I'm a Christian, but it's just in the nature of the Christianity that Jesus Christ taught us, that we don't just disregard other people who happen to be of a different persuasion than we are. So I'm very troubled by all of the sort of the wars of aggression that stem from Israel attacking its neighbors, but I think it is important, because I know for some people, they can't really distinguish between the various factions of the Muslims. And so it is important to understand that, yes, there are, just like in Syria. Syria had a very substantial Christian population, and our involvement, particularly our unwavering support of Al-Qaeda in Syria, really had a devastating impact on Christians who were just routinely beheaded by U.S.-backed Al-Qaeda affiliated rebels. So it's just important to keep in mind the humanity of the people involved. Now, at this point, I'm not suggesting that a decision has been made to conduct an amphibious landing at Carg Island, but I think it is something that we need to watch. I think that there is a possibility that they could be carried out, and I am very much hoping that we avoid any sort of a landing that would put U.S. troops inside the major part of Iran, because once you do that, you just really don't know where it's going to end up. Now, we've come to think of military operations as these dark of the night things where you have, these high-tech helicopters and things, and they zip in and they kidnap somebody or they assassinate somebody, and then they leave. And I think we need to be careful about that, because if we do that in the mainland of Iran, it is a huge country, and you might get in, and then you have some problems, and you can't get out. And so I, I think we need to think long and hard before we put any troops ashore in the mainland of Iran, because that could end up being a nightmarish scenario, and one that could leave us there for many generations. You know, we fought the first Gulf War under Herbert Walker Bush, Bush the Elder, and we pulled together a massive coalition of forces, all of whom descended on this one small third world country of Iraq, and obviously conquered them. They had no chance of doing anything. We did the shock and awe campaign, where we destroyed all of the things required to maintain human life, all of the electrical system, the water supply system. I suspect their hospitals didn't fare well, all of these things. And honestly, this was in 1991, and Iraq has never fully recovered from the attack that we conducted on 1991. They are not entirely self-governing. In a sense, they are, but we still occupy them today. I checked some years ago, and we had dropped 250,000 bombs on Iraq by this time, and we had bombed every year for decades. But in any event, we started off just with the first Gulf War, and it only lasted 100 days, and then we declared victory, and we had a fairly limited objective. So 100 days, and it was finished. And then President George Bush the Younger, was elected president, and there was this mysterious 9/11 attack that occurred, and 13 Al-Qaeda members flew hijacked jets into the Pentagon and the Twin Towers, killing 3,000 Americans. And interestingly, well, I won't go into it, but there were some very strange things happen that lead some people to believe that there may have been some collusion in the 9/11 attacks. But in any event, George Bush, instead of attacking the source of the hijackers, which was Saudi Arabia, almost uniquely, we never attacked Saudi Arabia. We strengthened our alliance with them, and we attacked all of the countries that were really opposed to terrorism. We attacked Libya, which was intensely anti-terrorist. We attacked Syria, which was intensely anti-terrorist. We had rolled through the Middle East, attacking one country after the other. All of them were countries that were anti-terrorist. Afghanistan, perhaps being the one exception where there were terrorist forces there, and I'm not sure how much the Afghan government even understood, but it was sort of a rather isolated but large group of terrorists who operated out of Afghanistan. But for the most part, we were very careful not to attack certainly Saudi Arabia. We never touched Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, any of those that had the fundamentalist Sunni Muslims that are called the Salafists. These are, or Wahhabis, the same thing. It's interchangeable. These are the people who believe in the sort of the 7th century version of Islam, which says that you own the women that you capture, and you can possess them like you possess cattle. You can buy and sell them. The Sunni Muslims, the fundamentalists, believe in suicide bombings, suicide jet attacks, or whatever. Interestingly, the ones we're fighting today, the Shia Muslims, suicide bombing is incompatible with their faith. You would never know that from hearing all of the proclamations out of the White House these days. But in fact, we are fighting with the more moderate part of the Islamic world. But in any event, so we started with the 100-Day War of George Bush the Elder. We ended up with the endless war of George Bush Jr., and we have an occupation force in Iraq today, 35 years after we started and ended the 100-hour war back in 1991. So I think, our hope is that we can somehow get the United States government refocused on the concerns and the problems of American families. We have enormous challenges in this country to be taken on. Yes, a lot of people have sympathy for Israel, but Israel does not have to expand its borders enormously. They do just fine without having to attack their neighbors, and we could do just fine without involving ourselves in that sort of an attack. But in any event, that will wrap it up for today. We thank you for being with us, and please join us next Saturday at 10, and we'll see where we stand at that point.